Part-2. The hadiths that say the hands of the Prophet never touched the hands of a woman.
Some scholars based their ruling on the action of the Prophet on the day of the conquest of Makkah. When he wanted to take the pledge of women, he said to them, "Go, for you have given your oath of allegiance." But it is known that the Prophet's leaving a matter does not necessarily indicate its prohibition, as he may leave it because it is haram, makruh, or because it is not preferable. He may also leave it just because he is not inclined to it. An example of this is the Prophet's refraining from eating the meat of the lizard although it is permissible. Then, the Prophet's refraining from shaking hands with women other than his wives is not evidence of the prohibition, and there should be other evidence to support the opinion of those who make shaking hands absolutely prohibited. However, it is not agreed upon that the Prophet refrained from shaking hands with women to take their oath of allegiance. Atiyah al-Ansariya reported another narrative that indicates that the Prophet shook hands with women to take their oath of allegiance. This is unlike the narration of the mother of the believers Aisha, who denied this and swore that it had not happened. It is narrated that Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, said, "When the believing women migrated to the Messenger of Allah, they would be tested in accordance with the words of Allah. O Prophet, if believing women come unto thee, taking oath of allegiance unto thee that they will ascribe nothing as partner unto Allah, and will neither steal nor commit adultery nor kill their children, nor produce any lie that they have devised between their hands and feet, nor disobey thee in what is right, then accept their allegiance and ask Allah to forgive them. Lo! Allah is forgiving, merciful." Al-Mumtahana. 12. Aisha said, "Whoever among the believing women agreed to that passed the test, and when the women agreed to that, the Messenger of Allah said to them, Go, for you have given your oath of allegiance. No, by Allah, the hand of the Messenger of Allah never touched the hand of any woman, rather they would give their oath of allegiance with words only." And Aisha said, "By Allah, the Messenger of Allah only took the oath of allegiance from the women in the manner prescribed by Allah, and the hand of the Messenger of Allah never touched the hand of any woman. When he had taken their oath of allegiance he would say, I have accepted your oath of allegiance verbally." Reported by al-Bukhari. In his explanation of the saying of Aisha, "No, by Allah, the hand of the Messenger of Allah never touched the hand of any woman," al-Hafiz ibn Hajar said, "She swore to ascertain the news as if she wanted to refute the narration of Atiyah. It is narrated on the authority of Ibn Hibban, al-Bazar, al-Tabari, and Ibn Mardawi that Atiyah said in respect of the story of taking the oath of allegiance of women, the Messenger of Allah held out his hand from outside the house and we held our hands from within the house. Then he said, O Allah, bear witness." In another narration reported by al-Bukhari, Atiyah said, "Thereupon a lady withdrew her hand." This narration indicates that they took their oath of allegiance by shaking hands. Al-Hafiz said, "We reply to the first saying that holding out hands from behind a veil is an indication of the acceptance of the allegiance even if there was no shaking of hands. As for the second narration, withdrawing hands indicates the postponement of accepting the Pledge of Allegiance or that taking the Pledge of Allegiance happened from behind a veil. This is supported by that narration of Abu Dawud on the authority of al-Shabi that when the Messenger of Allah wanted to take the Pledge of Allegiance of the immigrating women he brought a garment and put it over his hands saying, I do not shake hands with women. Furthermore, in his book Maghazi, Ibn Ishaq is reported to have said that when the Messenger of Allah wanted to take the Pledge of Allegiance of the immigrating women, he would dip his hands in a vessel and a woman would dip her hands with him in the same vessel. Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar said, "It is possible that taking the Pledge of Allegiance happened on more than one occasion. Sometimes, it happened without touching hands by any means, as narrated by Aisha. Another time it happened that the women's oath of allegiance was accepted by shaking their hands with the Prophet, as narrated by al-Shabi. A third time it happened that they dipped their hands in the vessel as mentioned by Ibn Ishaq. The most correct view seems to be that it occurred on more than one occasion, if we realize that Aisha talked about taking the Pledge of Allegiance from the immigrating women after the truce of al-Hudaybiyah, while Atiyah talked about what seems to be the oath of allegiance of the believing women in general. By transmitting these narrations, I mean to clarify that the evidence of those who are of the opinion that shaking hands with women is prohibited is not agreed upon, as is thought by those who do not resort to the original sources. Rather, there is some controversy concerning this evidence.
In Part 3, the hadith that says getting stabbed in the head with an iron needle is better than touching a woman will be discussed.